Hi, today my guest is Barry, the director of Beagle Agency. Barry, thank you so much for joining me on this podcast. Thank you for being here.
Pleasure to be here, Wasim.
Barry, please introduce yourself and share your journey. How do you first get started in real estate and what's influenced the way you work today?
I've been in real estate for just over 35 years. I started real estate when I had my first LJ Hooker office in Port Hedland, would you believe, the northwest of WA, in the late 80s. We moved back to Perth. We'd been up there for a little while. During that time, we opened another 3 LJ Hooker offices in different places around the metropolitan area of Perth. And in 1999, we opened LJ Hooker Settlements and West Coast Conveyancing. So my journey is that I am a licensed conveyancer as well as a licensed real estate agent. We have now moved on those agencies as such, and still a director of the conveyancing companies, but started Beagle Buyers Agencies back in about 2.5 years ago with my eldest boy, Matthew, who was previously in hospitality and was very successful in American sports bars, would you believe? So now Beagle is, we've got 5 buyers agents working for us. We work as a collaborative team and focusing mainly on Western Australia only for investors and homeowners alike.
Interesting. What the moment really changed your direction? What was the moment change your direction on
I
that?
guess, well, from a buyer's agent perspective, doing so many conveyancing transactions, it really disturbed me that there was probably not a good service being provided for buyers, in that there was a lot of East Coast buyers agents buying a lot of bad properties, if you like, in Western Australia, which annoyed me a bit. So therefore, I wanted to have them buyers looked after far better. And with my conveyancing background, it also gave us an edge to provide better conditions for our buyers. The transactional process between East and West is completely different. We use an offer and acceptance situation in WA, whereas in Sydney or in Melbourne, you have to have a contract developed prior to launching a property. It's reverse in Western Australia, whereas the real estate agents write those offer and acceptances or that contract, and then it's sent to the conveyancer for the conveyancer to do their part with the transaction. So it is a little bit different, and we felt that a better service was needed to be provided for buyers to be more informed and better serviced, if you like.
Yeah. So interesting to ask what the key lessons from these early days you learned and kept it in the way.
Same with many businesses. Surround yourself with good people. Know that you can't do everything. You generally are a specialist in 1 or 2 things, but you can't do everything. I'm not an accountant. I'm not a marketer. I'm a very good negotiator and a very good transactor. So for me to talk to somebody to gain their confidence, for me to represent them, is very easy. And the transaction process is what I enjoy. But as far as a business is concerned, my son is the marketing arm. We have a financial controller who's full-time, and we have people who do our socials, and you're actually in a studio that we have in Perth. We have a full-blown podcasting studio that we rent out as well, and that is used for promoting our buyers agents. It's part and parcel of what they get as a buyer's agent when they come on board with us.
With everything happening in the market right now, what the major shift or changes you are seeing these days?
I think, well, which was our motivation to do Beagle, and that is that buyers should be represented in this market. For many, many years, with respect to real estate agents who are listing and selling, that has been the focus for all of many, many years. It was the focus of mine as a real estate agent. Was you acted for the seller, you got the best price, you marketed the property, but the buyer, whilst the listing agent has a fiducial duty to the buyer, it's not a full representation. So my shift and change was realizing that buyers need to be represented. You wouldn't go in court without being represented by a solicitor. Why would you do the same in purchasing something that's going to be such an expensive item? So really representation. In America, I mean, obviously it's 50-50, 50% buyers agents, 50% selling agents, and they work very well together. And I think that we're moving towards that. My aim is to make sure that the professionalism of buyers agency is maintained, rather than, it's not a side gig, it's not a side hustle, it's a profession, and it should be treated as such.
Every high growth business has something tricky behind the scene. As a director for Beagle, what's the biggest operational and challenges or bottleneck you have been working on to solve lately, Barry?
I think we've been growing like Kaizen, small increments of success on a measured basis. We've been operating Beagle now for 2.5 years. There was a dedicated business plan before we started. We traveled to New York, met with directors from the Compass Group, who, in America, they're now 10,000 agents strong, so they've done something right. So we come back and we said, well, this is the plan. What's missing from some sales agents or buyers agents? And we believe the full support, the mentorship is missing. So our biggest challenge now is to get the right people on board. We've got 5 great buyers agents. We want to grow that in 2026. We have developed a platform specifically for buyers agents, which we've been working on for the last 2.5 years as well. It is all encompassed from start to finish, whereby buyers agents can plug into Mothership and they can open their laptop and they know exactly what they're doing from the very start of the day, who they have to ring, right to contract stage, and buying property in the right way.
So, if speaking to that, if you could fix just one thing in the business slowing you down, what would that would be?
Probably not slowing me down, just annoying me from a licensing point of view. I take with great pride the fact that I have my diploma. I'm a registered, licensed real estate agent, not a registered agent that's done a 2-week course and then got reciprocal recognition for the purpose of opening a business. I mean, it is a career and it should be treated as such. I think the dumbing down of the licensing is not doing the client any good. And I take with great pride my sort of, I want to make sure that this is a career, not and a profession, not treated as a get them in, get them out, um, and a side hustle. It's not a side hustle. It's if someone entrusts you to buy a property, they're paying you a good fee. You need to be licensed under the regime of the state you're in. I don't profess to understand how to buy property in Queensland, nor could I recommend a suburb. If I was recommending a suburb, I think I would be looking at a list of properties or a list of suburbs and looking at percentages. It doesn't work that way. I think a good buyer's agent needs to be on the ground and what I call smelling the property. The property can look fantastic on realestate.com or Domain, but if you get there and you find that there's a railway line behind and it smells and it hasn't been looked after, well, then that's a big difference. Don't buy property off the internet.
Gotcha. That's interesting. That's interesting. Basically, like
You need to
the
be represented correctly.
absolutely, I definitely agree. If you look 6 to 12 months ahead, what you are focusing on growing to improve your business, Mr. Barry?
We obviously intend to be recruiting next year in 2026. Actually, we're doing in our studio this afternoon. We're doing some reels to create interest for agents to come join Beagle. The West Australian market is hot here at the moment. We're down to 2,700 listings, of which we normally have 14,000. So you can imagine how hard it is for somebody to buy property. Properties are coming to market on a Friday, showing Saturday and Sunday. Monday they're writing offers. There might be 15 offers on the property. One successful purchaser, so there's 14 buyers left over. So you can see where the market is, Wassam, for us, and that is those people need help. 2026 for us is growing. It will be recruiting and perhaps changing the mindset of some experienced listing agents to understand that to be on the buyer side might be very successful as well.
Basically, it's really hard for buyer agency on Western Australia, but it's much easier for selling agency, isn't it?
Well, the tide is turning, Wassam, because 1 in 5 properties, because of the tightness of the market, 1 in 5 properties is actually selling off market because the listing agents are going in to list property, but the sellers are saying, I've got nowhere to go. I will sell if I have somewhere to go. And that's where the introduction of a good buyer's agent comes in. And that's where the collaboration of listing and agents and buyer's agents can work very much hand in hand to create good results.
So, how do you define success by this time next year then?
15 buyer's agents, our brand Beagle been very recognised. We hold above all high in our level of service and understanding, and that is that the relationship with listing agents is very, very important. We don't sell real estate. We only buy. We don't get involved in listing. We stick to our lane, and we refer back to listing agents that work with us. And that's the way it works in America, and that's the way I think it's going to be developing to work in Australia.
Okay, just a question come in my mind. So, if that's that much is shortage on the available properties to offer to your clients as a buyer agency, so how do you finding a property to
We have on a regular basis, we have listing agents providing for us pre-market and off-market properties on a daily basis.
gotcha?
So those properties, if they prefer to deal with us as buyers agents because they know that we're going to qualify our buyer before we go out. If we write an offer on a property with a 14-day finance clause, they know that our clients are qualified. And in most cases, we're talking to that listing agent to understand what would be the best solution for the seller, time-wise, condition-wise. No, normal mum and dad buyers who are lining up at home opens on the weekend are not getting the opportunity to ask those questions. In some cases, we've bought properties where we have been second and third as far as price is concerned. But because we've got a good relationship with the selling agent, understanding what the seller's requirements are, our conditions suit them far better. And the selling agent has got confidence in us because we have qualified our buyer. So it's not just down to price. It can be many, many other issues that get our buyers across the line. And that's why we're having repeat and referral clients for that very reason.
All right, Mr. Barry, quick ones. First things that comes to your mind. One common mistake you see in the industry for real estate. What that would be?
Not understanding what the requirements of the seller is from the listing agent. It fathoms me when I speak to a listing agent. I say, okay, well, what's the best solution for your seller? Would they prefer a long settlement? Have they got a place to go? And when a listing agent says, I don't know, I haven't asked them. My goodness, so you're working for your seller to provide them the best solution and outcome. You need to be asking everything, not only disclosing everything about the property and the material facts that are related to that, but asking, what's their plan? Why are they selling? Where are they going to go? Because those conditions can make or break the understanding or the success of the sale, that's for sure.
So, one thing you wish more clients to understand.
That we are a service and that employing us as a buyer's agent can very much, yes, we have a fee, but that fee, if you're investing, can be included as a capital expense. That fee can be rolled into the finance that you're using to buy your property. And 9 times out of 10, that fee is what we save a buyer by either not buying the right property. We would rather move away from a property or suggest that we don't progress because of one of perhaps 5 reasons that we've discovered during the due diligence process. And that could be location, it could be unapproved structures that we've discovered, many things. So, yeah, we see value in being represented rather than wondering whether you're going to buy properly or not.
Absolutely. That fees actually is for qualified agents to find the right property for them, for the clients. It's an investment at the end of scenario. So
Correct.
wrong
Yeah.
decision, it will be like huge consequences. And
Yeah.
right property is the right investment. Absolutely.
Yeah. And it doesn't necessarily just start with the property, it starts with the situation. When we work with investors, we want to know what their disposable income is per month. We want to know that they've got pre-approval, what their budget is, and then we can work backwards with a personal investment analysis and work closely with their financial advisor, closely with their accountant and their broker. It's a tripartite approach to make sure that the right investment is got, so they balance their portfolio and just make sure it's the right investment that they're purchasing.
Absolutely. Okay. One last thing to ask about one thing agents overlook too often.
Yeah, I guess material facts are a really important part. I'm a sessional member of the State Administrative Tribunal for Conveyancing and Real Estate Matters here in WA. It's an appointed government position, and I'm honoured to be on that panel that brings to light, unfortunately, if real estate agents or conveyancers do the wrong thing, they're brought to the tribunal and I advise on that tribunal. So probably in cases where they tripped up is where they haven't given material all of the material facts or they've withheld information. You've got to be honest with this game. Open honesty is the only way. If you try whatever you try to hide, it's the same when you're a kid. If you whatever you try to hide, you'll get caught out. So be honest all the way with making people aware what is being sold and why it's being sold, perhaps.
Barry, I just would like to ask about, are you using any form of AI in your business and somehow?
We are a product we developed in conjunction with our conveyancing companies is a product called Settle IQ. Settle IQ is a closed library which has everything WA property in it. It's got it's got everything from Landgate to the Office of State Revenue to Foreign Investment Review Board information, anything and everything that a real estate agent will want to know or needs to know. I mean, if someone said to me, one of my agents said, "Hey, listen, I'm going to buy a property," and the client has said that they want to have their minor, their son, who's only 12, on the title. How do I go about doing that? Then the contract has to be written as far as the entity is concerned in a special way. They could go on to settleiq.com.au and it would ask the question and it would give the answer to the agent. So also for developing conditions, as I said before, in WA, we have to write our own offer and acceptances, the contract itself. If there's a specific condition that has to have what we like to have is the 5 elements of a good condition, the what, the where, the how, the why, how much, and what if, they can just put in the details of what they want to achieve, and Settle IQ will create that condition for them, covering all aspects and making reference to to the Real Estate Agents Act or whatever it should be referencing to. But yeah, Settle IQ is something we've developed along with Capital Legal, and they've got that as a uh, uh, resource for those that are referring to those settlement agents.
That's really interesting, very in implementing and have some sort of tools to help the buyer agents to go through all of this hassling and making the answering any question related to that, which is cover definitely heaps of issues he may end up with.
Every day they have issues, and if they If they can't solve it on Settle IQ, they give me a call as their mentor. So, um, I like to, it's an education tool as well. They're discovering things that they're and asking questions. It's a very good tool to have.
And the clients can use it and have at least look and see what's basically they can go through or like to get some sort of idea about anything related to their buying or selling. That's
Yeah,
right.
the agent actually has access, and the client can, jointly discover and make sure things are correct. It can answer a multitude of questions, but it's like any, chat product. You have to prompt it to get the right answer and make sure that its content is delivering correctly. But yeah, it's as I said, it's a closed library where we are monitoring what goes in there and also updating as changes need to be made.
Beautiful. What's the domain again?
www.settleiq.com.au. If you need to have a username and password for it, and if you're using any of the capital legal conveyancing companies, you get access.
Beautiful. Thanks for that information. That's definitely going to help so many
Pleasure.
people to have an access and see what they can get out of it. Thank you for that again, Mr. Barry, about this information. Thank you.
Pleasure, Wassim.